Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jason Avant, and this is the Q&A podcast on Inside the Birds platform, YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm here with my main man, the one and only, one of the all-time Eagles great safeties, my man Quintin Mikell. Say what's up to the people.
What's up, everybody? Good to be back. Another exciting week, and good to spend some time with my man Jay again. As always, looking forward to it, man. Let's go.
It's always fun. It's always a blast to see your face, because I know you know a lot about football. Great teammate, great player, and we finally got some football action. And so we've been looking forward to. We've been trying to figure out, okay, what's Jonathan Gannon's off defense going to be like? What Nick Sirianni's going to do on offense, how the quarterback's going to look, how the receiver's going to look, how the linebacker's going to look, how secondary's going to look, all of these different things. We got kind of a snapshot of what's going on. I think it's very vanilla, but we still got a nice snapshot, something to compare and contrast to. Before we get to that, make sure that you send your questions to insidethebirds@gmail.com. insidethebirds@gmail.com. We want to say thank you guys for tuning in, all the fan support that we get when we're out in the public, and also direct messages and on the website and email. So thank you guys for all that you're doing. We want to say a special shout out to Adam and Jeff and Hunter and everyone that's responsible. Let's get this show on the road. First question, first topic, the Eagles preseason game recap. Evaluate Hurts' performance versus aggressive Steelers D. What did you like or not like about his performance?
Well, there wasn't a whole lot to go off of. He only played a few snaps, but I think one of the biggest things that I like, and we talked about it before, is the Steelers are well known. Like, for the most part, teams usually keep it vanilla, especially defensively in the preseason. But the Steelers are that one team that will throw blitzes out there. They will throw not necessarily all their stuff out there, but they will send guys. And so I knew that was going to happen coming into the game. And the thing that stood out the most to me that I liked about Hurts was when he did face a couple pressures, he was poised. He delivered the ball on time. He delivered the ball accurately, and he was not phased. And so, that's obviously he only had a couple snaps, but that was really the most exciting thing for me to see, was that, he wasn't phased by the blitz, and he moved the ball. He moved the ball out of the pocket. He moved out of the pocket when he got pressured and kept his eyes downfield, didn't just tuck it and run, and he delivered a couple of nice balls. And so, that's a good opening showing for me. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So I'm excited.
So with Hurts, that first series, his first couple throws, I thought that, like you said, he protected the football. That's number one. You want your quarterback to protect the football. 3 for 7, 54 yards. He did move the ball down the field. You'd love for a quarterback, to at least be 4 for 7, 5 for 7, something like that, rather than, 4 for, something like that. You want him to be higher, when it comes to completion. But again, when you see in the blitz and you have pressure, you're going to have some throwaways. You're going to have some decisions to be made, and we saw some of those, right? So, but overall, I was impressed by his throw against Devin Bush on Dallas Goedert on the corner route. He had good coverage, and that was a trust throw. I know on the TV copy, it looks like he had separation the entire time. He did not. When the ball was thrown, Goddard didn't have great separation, but right at the end, because he trusted him, and when he put his foot in the ground, he was able to give him a little nudge and lose him late, but the ball was already there. So I love that he anticipated that throw, because Devin Bush can cover, and he's going to be one of the better covering linebackers in this league. And to see that was pretty good. And also Goddard getting open on him was pretty impressive to me, even though tight ends are expected to get open on safeties. But overall, I thought his performance was pretty solid. You want to see him complete more passes, but again, you're playing aggressive defense. You protect the football. That's the most important. Still got 54 yards and 7 throws. That's not bad at all. We'll take that each and every game. So I thought his performance was okay. It wasn't stellar. He did move the football, and that's what you want to see the offense do. When the Eagles starters were in the game, they were up 10-0. That's the most important thing. Now, when you look at the stat lines, you start to look at other stuff like 0 for 8 on third down, losing the turnover battle. Every other stat they pretty much lost. But most of that happened in the second quarter, and then in the second quarter and later in the game. So it didn't really matter. So I was impressed by what the Eagles did in offense.
Yeah, I'll take it as a start, and a lot of it too. And we've kind of mentioned it before with when we're talking about the way the team is built, and there's not a lot of depth, and I think we saw that especially in the second half. There's not a ton of depth. There's not a ton of experience after the first. Really, I mean, across the board, but really outside of that, the first 1.5 deep, there's not a lot of experience. So a lot of those guys were playing in the second half. Basically playing the entire half, and so I agree with you. Definitely good that they finished with the lead, but we'd like to see a little bit more. A little bit closer competition in the second half. So
in the second half, and that speaks to this team has been plagued with injuries, and these players will play at some point. It's just been our history. So we need that product, those players, to be as close to the starters as possible. And clearly that wasn't the case. So we'll see. We had a lot of guys out. Had Devontae Smith out. You had a boatload of offensive linemen. You had a lot of things that was taking place there. So hopefully to get some of these guys back, we're looking forward to it. Would you have kept Hurts in longer? Did you think he should have played longer? I know what I think. What do you think?
Yeah, selfishly, as a person that's pulling for him, I would like to have seen him play a little bit longer. Just because the way the new format is with the preseason. I don't know if one more game and basically another half of a game is going to be quite enough to really get him ready for a full out game. So I would have liked to see a little more. I was hoping for at least quarter and a half, maybe the first half, but hopefully this next game there'll be more. But I was definitely hoping for a little bit more. I would have, if I was a head coach, I would have played him a little bit more.
Yeah, I understand because there's a lot of questions to be answered. Yeah. If your quarterback gets hurt in a game that is irrelevant.
Very true.
And it's within that second quarter, and you're like, yo, what is your starting quarterback doing in there? And that's the first thing, because hindsight is always 50-50.
Yeah.
But you're talking about a younger player in a new offense, trying to develop chemistry with receivers that are unproven. All these different factors, you got to play them until halftime. You have to. There's no other way. You got to play them until halftime. That's what you're supposed to do, especially when you only have 3 preseason games. And so you're going to pay him, a series, and then you're going to play him, for 2 quarters next week, and then that's it for the preseason. So he has 2 quarters of football in a series, and he's ready to play on opening day. That's tough. That's just tough. It is. That's a tough situation to put somebody in. So, absolutely. and then it's a shock to go from a series or 2 to 3 quarters. Yeah. So there is no winning now. So if you go 2 quarters, then you go 3 quarters, he's expecting to play football. Now you go 2 quarters, 3 quarters, he has a whole game and a quarter of football played before he's stepping into opening day. And that's the mentality. But now you may get him, if that's the case, he may play to the end of the first quarter of this game, maybe second quarter, and that's it. And now we got a quarter of football ready for our starting quarterback who is young, who has not been proven, who doesn't have proven people around him, and we expect him to play great like the city of Philadelphia does. I just don't think it's a great recipe, especially for a new coach, new system, new players. And that's just my take on it. More football is only good for Jalen Hurts.
Absolutely. Right? Yep. I agree.
I understand you protecting an established player, someone that may be injury prone, someone that's coming off of an injury, someone that is Dak Prescott, someone that is Tom Brady because he's older, someone that is Ben Roethlisberger, like we saw last week, someone that Like, I understand that. I will never understand an unproven quarterback in his first year in this offense, being treated like he's been in the league 7 to 10 years. It's stupid. That's what it is. I don't understand it. So that's my take on it.
No, and then that's I agree with you 100%. Like, I just feel like what are we protecting him from at this point, right? Like, obviously you're worried about injuries. I mean, that's pretty much the big deal right there, right?
Yeah.
But you would think that the experience is worth the risk of, getting him ready for the season opener. No matter what anyone says, he's the starting quarterback game one, and so let's see what he's got. Let's get him out there. Let's see him lead. Let's see him come out there and play an entire half. Hopefully he plays a whole half this game. And
that would be ideal.
Yes, absolutely.
The expectation, right? So this is what I don't get, right? If there's constantly reports of the Eagles looking for Deshaun Watson, you're automatically saying that you're not holding a high value on Jalen Hurts. That's what you're saying. You're saying that I have a higher standard or higher price value on Deshaun Watson, therefore I'm giving him up. Giving Jalen Hurts is starting up for Deshaun Watson, if those reports are true, which I believe that they are true. Yeah. If that's the case, and you're saying that he's not as valuable as a Deshaun Watson, what's the problem with playing him in the preseason? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. So let's get to the next topic. Yeah. Quez Watkins for a chance. All right, so Quez stepped up and made some plays, and I hate this, and everybody in the NFL need to change this stat, right? 79 yards, quick screen, goes to the receiver and not the quarterback. I'm tired of this, man. This is how Tom Brady wins the Super Bowls half the time. They throw a little quick screen at Edelman. Edelman makes 17 people miss. Brady's the MVP. Edelman's, he gets.
Wait. What you talking about?
Well, what I'm saying is that if you throw a pass 1 yard, not even at the line of scrimmage, and the receiver does all the work, the quarterback shouldn't get all the credit. That's all I'm saying. That's how football should be. But for some reason, it's added to this dude's stat line, so it makes his stats look, appear flated. Quez did all the work on that. Him and the offensive line, the quarterback did nothing but deliver a decent 0-yard pass.
A 0-yard pass. You know how that is. But I mean, he can't throw it to himself, right? So you gotta give maybe split it. Would you go with a 50-50 split on it?
I would go with a 50-50 split. Give us some love here, man. Give us some love. There's more receivers that should have won the MVP in the Super Bowl than what has happened. Right?
I agree 100% with that one, man. That's the quarterbacks. They give them everything, man.
They give it to them. But so with that being said, go ahead. You expound upon Quez's game.
Yeah, he showed. I go back to you telling me, and then I don't want to say I didn't believe you, because I trust everything that you say, especially when it comes to the receiver position. But you called it, man, and he was absolutely like a shot out of a rocket when he caught that ball. And a lot of people, it looks like that play is easy, but it really isn't. I mean,
not in the NFL.
It's tough, man. There's so much that can go wrong on that play. And the blocking was superb, but he bent the corner on everybody. I mean,
you don't see that.
You don't see that no more.
Don't.
And he looked really good, and I'm excited now. I'm excited for this receiving core, especially with seeing what Jalen's been doing, Jalen Reagor's been doing in practice, and then Avant coming back. I'm starting to get pretty excited about this receiving core. They're still young.
I
know they're still young, but there's a lot of promise there. A lot of explosiveness there, and then I like what I see so far.
Yeah, this is maybe a different. We'll talk about this a little bit. We'll talk about this next, but they have serious problems, serious decision-making problems. It's a good thing, because when you have a guy like Quez that's rising and he's doing it fast and quickly, and you have a guy like Devontae that is unproven, but you're drafting him 10th, so he has an automatic spot. There's no player that's drafted 10th that's not starting. He's going to start. But you got Quez here. You got Jalen that's drafted in the first round, first? Or I can't remember exactly what it was, 21st, 23rd, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Drafted, and now you got Quez that's rolling. You got G Ward that's there.
Yeah.
You got a fan favorite in Travis Fulgham. You got a lot of decisions. J-Jaw played really well this weekend. These past 2 days versus the Patriots. He balled. He did. He balled.
Yeah.
And so you start to get decisions that need to be made. But Quez is constantly getting better. He's been balling in practice. He's showing up each and every day. You just hope that it translates to the game. But I told you this summer, I didn't see many things, from a lot of people this summer. And I didn't see him posting a bunch, but I seen him out there with Hurts. I seen him out there with receiver coaches. A couple moves that I seen him do off the line. He's putting it in his bag, and it's also helping Rager out, because there's some things that's in Quez's bag of tricks for receivers at the line that I'm seeing Rager do in some of these one-hand catches and things like that. Those are things that Quez has been working on, and that type of stuff is infectious. It rubs off on you, and it's also driving. When you got a guy coming from the back, everybody else is like, oh, dang, this dude coming. Let me elevate. So you're starting to see Rager make some plays. And I'm starting to get a little bit excited about it. I'm not so fast, my friends. Not so fast, my friends. Right. So I'm not there yet, but I'm getting excited about them. But he did show some speed. People, getting around that corner in NFL is very, 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 very. How often do you see that play? You just don't. You see that play in college. You see that play in high school. You don't see it in the NFL because usually the angles are really, really good. And what that tells me is that those guys took the angle saying, okay, yeah, this guy got him. It's a 4-5 angle. I'm going to get that 4-5. He like, no, that's 4-3. You don't know who I am yet. And that's all that was, is that they didn't know who he was, because the angle is different when you know who the player is. Right.
Touchdown angle.
Yeah. Right. So you start going a little bit more toward that pylon rather than down and flat across, because you know what player it is. And that's all it is. And that's the thing that he has going for him, is that not many people knows who he is. But as the hype gets more and people begin to see how fast he is, those plays start to decrease a little bit.
Yeah.
That's
all right. So real quick though, I had a question, because so Quez, was he drafted or was he undrafted?
No, he was drafted. Quez was drafted right after Hightower. Hightower was 4th. I think Quez may have been 5th or 6th round, but he was definitely drafted out of Southern Miss.
Okay.
And he definitely was a steal. The thing about Quez that most people don't realize, Quez has never had to work hard for. I say that with a I'm not saying that to shame Quez, but working like he has to work now, he's never really had to do, because he was the fastest at Ole Miss. His game was kind of a little bit lazy. He can run a 4.4 and still get open in that conference and things of that nature. But now on this level, he has to work and bring it out. So you can only imagine a person that was only playing at 60, 70% of his talent, because he never was stretched enough. He was never challenged enough to do it. And so you seen this kid that had a bottle that had a whole bunch of room to improve, be like, how are you going to get it out? And seeing the competition, seeing what's going on, coaches getting fired the first year, playing against Darius Slay in practice, it's starting to bring him up to realize that he has a lot more to gain. And I think it's paying off. Now, Quez continues still, like, to me, I'm not a Debbie Downer. You still got to look at that football just a touch longer, just like little things, little touch longer when the play's tight, a little bit longer, you know. Yeah. So, but little things. Those are small little things. Those are the Harold Carmichael on the way back to the huddle things that you get mad, like, Harold, shut up talking to me, man. I was looking at the ball. No, you weren't, Junior. No, you weren't. You may call you Junior.
Yeah, he call everybody Junior.
Hall of Fame, Harold Carmichael in the house.
Yeah, he's a man.
I was excited for him.
Yeah,
I wanted to be there,
it,
man, but I was in Wisconsin doing a football camp.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Other receivers in the game. Rager dropped, but came back with 2 catches. Nothing from Arcega-Whiteside, nothing from Fulgham, not too much from G Ward, etc. Like, this is just the game that we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. But here is something I want you guys to know, is that I think, this is me. This is just me knowing football, knowing how things work. Travis Fulgham has ability, has a talent, but there's always been something that's kind of lingering that caused them to have, bad performances in Green Bay, bad performances in Detroit. So you hope that he can be a consistent player, but his past has shown that he can be inconsistent.
Yeah.
And you have players like that can catch a hot streak, but then, go back down. And you need that player to be consistently good. You get a team full of consistently good players, you're going to win a Super Bowl. And I think that Quez and Rager and the shine of Devontae Smith, I think it may be weighing on Travis a little bit mentally, especially with how well Quez is playing. So he's putting the ball on the ground in practice, and he's not getting open as well. He actually got dominated this last 2 days versus the Patriots, and so JJ Arcega-Whiteside came in, and guess where JJ Arcega-Whiteside is playing? Q
slot.
He's in the slot. He's in the slot.
They must watch the podcast.
And he's been playing. They've been checking us out. Let me give my smile. They've been checking us out. I did that to a lady in I was in Chicago with my brother a second, and this lady said to my brother said, "Which one of us look better?" And she was older, around his age, and I had my mask up, and he said, she's like, "Oh, I like what you got going on." Talking to my brother. I was like, "Hold on, wait a minute, let me take my mask off." Jesus, she's like, "No, he got it, brother." My brother was dying laughing.
That's funny. Man.
That was funny. We were having a ball.
Did he have his mask on though?
No, he didn't have his mask on.
Okay, so you just even the playing field. Okay.
I just even the playing field. I said, "Look at his stomach. Look at mine."
Hey, he earned that stomach, man.
Yeah, I know he earned it. I was messing with him because he always messed with me. But to get back to the podcast, you got JJ coming in strong. You got Quez coming in strong. You have Jalen Rager that's performing in practice. We need to see it in the game. You give Devontae Smith. He's not proven yet, but we know that he may have the most talent in the group. And you start to look around, and you can look like, man, there's some decision that needs to be made. G Ward, who's going to make the team? There's a good chance that look, we wouldn't have never thought that Travis Fulgham will have a chance to miss out on his roster. That could possibly happen this year.
That's crazy.
It could. I'm not saying that it is, but it definitely could. Yeah. And because when you have Quez going, or you can have Hightower, we talked about that, but say Hightower comes back and plays well, and he has made some plays in camp. It hadn't been as consistent as Quez, but he plays really, really well. Man, somebody's on the hot seat. Is it G Ward? Is it JJ? Is it Travis? But it's definitely going to be one of them three.
Yeah.
It's going to be Hightower, JJ, Travis, and then G last. But somebody got to make a decision. And who's going to be your three? Do you put Quez out there with Devontae on the outside and put Jalen Rager on the inside? What do you do? I don't know. That means G Ward is not starting. Not mean so it's a lot of decisions that need to be made. And I think that you got to play the best players. It's going to be very, very hard to get G Ward off the field. You know why? Because none of those players understand defenses like him, and none of them put the preparation in like he does to perfect his craft and know what he is supposed to do. He's one of those guys that's very, very hard to cut. One of those guys is going to be very, very hard to get off the field once he's in there. So they have an uphill battle with that, but talent rules. If the coach says, look, now I need my best 3 receivers on the field, athletically talented, he's not one of those. But he can win you games because of what he knows.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back to Fulgham real quick, though. It seems like what you're telling me about him, it seems like he's counting bodies right now. Like he's counting people in front of him.
Look,
is that
I don't know this to be 100% true, but usually when you have this type of competition, it can weigh on you mentally if you're not built for it. And you don't know. We talked about a player that came from Old Dominion that had some struggles in Detroit. He had some struggles in Green Bay. Had an up and down season last year, right? So I don't necessarily know how proven he is when it comes to dealing with the pressure of having other people around you. I was, when I got in the league, I was kind of used to it because, behind Braylon was me. I was right on his heels. Right on Braylon's heels was or right in front of Braylon was David Terrell. And Braylon was like, man, I'm ready. I'm gonna take his spot. That's what Braylon was. And so it was David Terrell, it was Braylon. Then I was on his heels. Steve Breston was with me. We were on each other's heels. Right behind Steve Breston was Mario Manningham and Adrian Arrington. Both of them went to the league. They were on it. So we were used to that. And so I was already prepared. So when I got to the league and there was Reggie Brown and it was others and whoever else, and when Danny Amendola came in and when others came in, whoever it may be, I was used to it. So it didn't change or affect my game. Some people are not prepared for that. They're just not. Yeah. They're not built for it. And I'm hoping that this is not true for him. Hope he can focus and try to figure out how to be consistent. And it'll be good for our team.
Okay.
Yeah. The second group, I would say the first half, first quarter, first half did pretty good. And the most impressive player by far, besides Quez's play was the most impressive thing that I saw because he made the play happen along with the offensive lineman getting out there to open that hole to block, was Flacco.
Yeah.
10 for 17, delivered the ball, got guys the ball in position to make yards after the catch. I thought it was a solid performance. And now this is one city that I absolutely hate when the backup quarterback does well.
Yeah.
Isn't that terrible? Yeah, isn't that terrible? Like, if it's a regular season game and he comes in and win the game, I'm happy because I want the team to do well. But in preseason, man, the backup quarterback started doing well. Listen, this ain't the city. And this city has seen, Coy Detmer come in and play and win some games. They didn't see AJ Feely come in and win some games. They didn't see Jeff Garcia come in and win some games. They didn't see Rodney Peete come in and win some games. They've seen Nick Foles come in and win some games. They've seen McCown come in and win some games. So we are used to seeing backup quarterbacks. Michael Vick come in and win some games. It goes on and on and on, right? So this city is in love with the backup. So when he started having a little success, you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Because we don't want to deal with the controversy, and
especially because he's from here. He's like from
Audubon.
10 minutes. Audubon, New Jersey, 10 minutes from the house. So that's even double. Not I won't say worse, but that's double trouble. So, but yeah, he did look good, man. He delivered the ball on money. Play with poise. I mean, he's been in the league. I don't even know how many years.
He's been in the league a long time now.
Quite a while. I remember.
Is he at the 10? He got to be at least the 10, 11 year.
It's got to be. I mean,
he got to be.
I played against him multiple years.
He got to be 10, 11 year mark. He probably in there with Brandon somewhere.
Yeah, and so he played well. It's preseason. You kind of expect him to play the way he did.
Well, yeah, because he's been a Pro Bowl level quarterback playing against second unit guys, so you expect him to play well. That is true.
Yes. So,
but then you begin to think about it, if that's the Pro Bowl caliber guy, or second unit guy that we're expecting to play well, or first unit guy that's expecting to play well against the second unit, then you begin to think like, man, should he play? So that goes along with that mentality too now. So you can't take one without the other. So he's like, okay, he's supposed to do that versus second team. Does he? Because if he's supposed to do that against second team, that means he's supposed to be on the first team.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So you can't. So I'm expecting him to go out there and go, 7 for 15. Yeah. That's 7 for 10. And it looked good too. I must say it looked pretty good.
Yeah. I'll tell you who didn't was Mullins. Did you watch?
We know Mullins.
I mean,
man.
I
Mullins
know,
gonna turn
but
that
oh
thing
my
over, man. What you
goodness.
mean? He gonna turn it over and throw it to other people. That's it. It
Oh,
is. It's a magnet, right?
I,
Now they
I
they be
wanted to like go get my cleats and my helmet and just go one more play, man. Come on, throw me one pick. Come on, Mullins. I know
dude.
you got one for me.
Dude, somebody posted something. It was like quarterbacks that, the most passing yards for quarterbacks in their rookie season. Number one was Patrick Mahomes with 5,100. And then number two was not in their rookie season, but in their first 2 years or something like that. The number two was was Mullins with like 4,400 yards or something like that. Yeah, yeah,
Really?
facts,
Wow.
facts, facts. You know what?
I'm gonna
He
look
can
this up,
spin
man.
it. He can spin it. It's just that he spins it to the wrong team way too often.
Way
But
too
but
often.
way too often. But he can throw the ball. Like Mullins can throw. Like I've seen him deliver and play well, but he just throws it to the other team just way too much, and that's a recipe for being a permanent backup and or being out of the league.
Yeah.
For some reason, quarterbacks can be backup quarterbacks for a long, long time.
That's one of the best jobs in,
Dude,
in football as a backup quarterback
but
until
until you got to go in, and they don't want to go in. Most backup quarterbacks that have a backup quarterback mentality do not want to go in the game.
Mm-mm.
Only the dudes that think they secretly better than the starter. Those are the dudes that go in and put in work because they be like, man, I'm tired of being behind this dude. He don't study like me. He don't know. That's the dude you actually want on your team. The dude that's just comfortable with being the backed up. Hey guys, how you doing? You want some
Yeah.
coffee? You want that? He's
They
like,
break down film for you.
yeah,
They signal on the sidelines.
doing all that. They great teammates. The quarterback never feel challenged. The organization is happy. You get a couple of them guys in 10, you might as well just go ahead and turn it to a golf club.
Yeah. For real. We had one in St. Louis. Ours was Kellen Clement. You remember him?
Yeah, Kevin Clem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
yeah. He's
great teammate, man.
great team. I'm happy to be back though. Does you believe they paying me $5 million to do this? Can you believe that? That's the really thing. Like, man, I'm tricking them. I'm really tricking them.
Don't blame him. Shoot, get your money, boo boo.
Get your money, boy. That's love right there. Oh my gosh. All right, deep. Let's transition. Making good time too, Q. Oh, I probably then jinxed us right there.
Nah, you good.
Second topic. About the game. Jonathan Gannon. Listen to me now. I don't know how far we're gonna be able to go like this, So I think there has to be a little, but I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic because it's a preseason game. You don't want to show everybody everything, so I want you to explain what you see as very vanilla. You had a few pass rushers, you're forward, and we're used to that in Philadelphia. We're not used to the two shell behind it all the time, but we're used to the 4 pass rushers and nothing else happening. And that's what we saw. What do you think? Are you alarmed? Are you scared? Are you saying, okay, this is just the first preseason game? He's getting his feet wet. He's trying to allow the guys to play and know what to do. You tell me something that's encouraging because I'm like, what's going on?
The only thing I got that's encouraging is I hope it was just because that was the first preseason game because that was now I will say this, they did play. I was happy with the secondary playing disciplined defense. Every single, well, not every single, but most passing plays had at least 2 or 3 defenders in the area ready to make a tackle, get the guy on the ground right there. All right. It was, a basic 4-3 cover 2 defense. Keep everything in front. But I was hoping for a little more. And I don't want to say I'm assuming. I'm hoping that we get to the second game and maybe opens it up a little bit more. Yeah. Certainly don't want to be seeing that game 1. Definitely don't want to see us sitting in a cover 2 and just playing soft bend, no break defense. So I I was encouraged by a few things on the defense. I saw Sweat had a couple nice rushes. He had a really nice up and under. I was
I
surprised.
seen he almost got there, but he got it out too quick. But yeah, I know when you're talking about when he was on the right.
Yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yep. A
yeah,
little dip and rip underneath. That was
yeah.
a fabulous rush. That was textbook. If anyone can, go back and take a look at that. That's if you're a young player, a high school player, college, that's exactly how you do that speed rush.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. And then and secondary wise, I thought that they played discipline. It was just a little boring for me. I wanted to see a little bit more, maybe some cover ones, some cover threes, kind of mix it up a little bit just to test those guys out a little bit. It just didn't seem like that is what we were. Definitely wasn't what I was expecting to see.
Yeah, expecting, yeah, because that was very, very vanilla. We're used to very, very vanilla. And
Yeah.
I get the mindset, okay, let me call a defense where my linebackers can play fast. Let me call a defense where guys know what to do and that we actually look disciplined on defense because the coach don't want to confuse you. First preseason game. And this may have been the coach's mentality. Okay. And this is what I'm thinking from a defensive coordinator's perspective. I don't want to show a bunch to the league because I'm a first year defense coordinator. So I'm going to use that to my advantage. Right. So that's one mentality. The other thing too, is that this is a new system. Maybe my players haven't, gotten it all down yet. So I'm going to give them less so they can play faster and I don't look like a buffoon on the first day, giving up 500 yards some kind of way. Right. So I'm going to limit that. Right. So I think those are the types of mentalities that he had. Maybe, my guys can play faster. So it had to be something of that nature. I tell you, one player that he did make look good because of the way that he played was Alex Singleton.
Oh yeah.
Because that's what happens. When you're in a cover two defense, linebackers got to make all the plays.
Yeah.
And they're going to make most of the plays, So when you think about that cover two defense, think about, Lynch, Briggs, and, who am I thinking? Urlacher. You're thinking about those guys that, you think
Pisa.
about the two, huh?
Pisa, Teeden,
Yeah,
Wassamo.
Yeah, exactly. You think of you think of Thomas Davis down in Carolina and Luke Kuechly. You think of Derek Brooks, right? You think of all of these guys. These are cover two guys where you're free because you got four rushing. If a team isn't running the football a lot, you're going to be able to run in the pass game and get back in coverage and make plays. And that's what we've seen at Alex Singleton. It looked like that he was, all world player, but at the same time, the defense didn't get off the field either. And 10 for 17 on third down, like you're not getting off the field. It's hard to get off the field if you're in cover two the whole time. You can't.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, and that's what I was disappointed in. You gotta mix it up. Like I'm a big fan of the cover two. It's a defense designed, like you said, it's a defense designed for guys to just play fast. You study tape, you kind of learn tendencies. They know what you're in, so you kind of. The funny thing about it is if a lot of times when you're in the cover two, a lot of the offenses have to attack you the same way. So you start to learn. Okay, I'm definitely going to get this route on this because there's only one way that they can attack it. So you start to learn and you expect certain routes against your defense. But at the same time, especially in the preseason, like we're talking preseason, this is the time where you take those chances. Like maybe not necessarily show all your cards on your blitz schemes, but throw a regular cover one and everyone's got a cover one. Throw a man blitz in there, throw something in there to kind of test these guys on the outside, test their abilities, test the linebackers. Like, are we going to know if they can blitz well going into game one? Are we even going to? So I was a little bit disappointed. Yeah, I wanted to see more. So hopefully this next game we'll get to see more. Definitely encouraged by Alex Singleton's play. I was definitely encouraged by the secondary at least being in the right position, and as soon as they're making the catch or getting a run going off, we got guys surrounding them and getting the ball on the ground. So I like the discipline. Now let's start to take a little bit more chances and see if we can get away from 3rd and 15 playing sticks defense and
Yeah.
hoping that we make a tackle. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. Like I said, you got to be like, so the teams that played cover two, and they only did it. So very rarely do you play cover two on first down, right? Because it's a losing defense for that down, right? I don't know many teams that do it. For the most part, is usually the reason I say that because first down is where a lot of teams like to run the ball, and
Yeah.
it's not the best defense to stop the run, right? You got to have a really, really aggressive will player in order to kind of stop the run, and he's kind of out of position by alignment,
Mhm.
right? So in order to stop the run, it's a hard defense to stop it, to stop the run. Somebody especially that's that's in a solid front to stop the run. You're going to get 4 yards. You're going to get 3-4 yards in second and 6 is winning.
Yeah.
Second and 6 is a winning football down. And so now you're forced to play something else besides cover two. So historically, what teams would do is 3 or 4, 1 on first down in order to get a winning football down, meaning 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10. Now I can play cover two on a more favorable passing down because
Yeah.
2nd and 7 to 10 is passing football. That's the philosophy of offensive coordinators. If it's 2nd and 6 or less, I can run it or throw it. If it's 2nd 7 and plus, I only can throw it. That's most offensive coordinators' philosophy. So the cover two defense is designed like that. Let's get a winning down on first down. Now I can play cover two because now cover two is a great defense for most passing, offenses, most of them. There's ways to get around it. You usually got the little dink and dunk. One guy stands over the ball, the other one goes behind him. One of the linebackers is going to make the play, or the defensive line going to knock a few of them down. You can try to do it all game, but they're going to get hip to it. Hey, defense line, put your hands up. You know what I mean? So it's only certain things you can do. You can try to catch somebody sleeping with a whole shot, but the best thing against cover two to do is run the football.
Oh yeah.
So that's my little breakdown, my little synopsis of cover two, trying to get you guys to know what's going on. Physicality, tackling. What do you think?
I thought the first half was pretty good. Like I said, it was a lot of gang tackling, which is what you want to see. They were physical up front. I think going in the second half is we kind of all expected. Everyone starts to get tired, and you're out there on the field the whole time, and defense was having a hard time getting off the ball. The D line looked exhausted. I was watching a couple of plays. Milton Williams looked like he looked like he could barely get in his stance, and that's what it's like in that second half, man. You just gotta keep going. It's rough.
Nobody coming in.
Yeah, and so you don't be doing this. Don't be tapping your helmet trying to get a break. No.
Nobody coming in.
Burn the boats. But so yeah, no, it's the second half that's to be expected. But I was encouraged with the first half physicality. Guys getting around the ball, and that's what you want to see early on. Can it get better? Obviously, second half can get better, but it's still tough. I feel like it's still early to really make a complete diagnosis. That's kind of like a half diagnosis right now. So.
Yeah, we'll see, and I'll give you that. The first half, guys are in position to make plays, and that's a good thing. I know it's due 2-3 people around the ball, less opportunity for yards after the catch. We've seen that guys putting people on the ground. That's good. Can we get them on the ground without giving up the first down? That's a whole nother, that's an entirely different, subject. Now, so let's talk about this week before we get into our experiences training camp. Let's talk about this week. This week was Patriots week. The New England Patriots came into South Philly NovaCare Complex. Cam Newton in his hair, Mac Jones in number 50. And there's been a lot of things that has transpired. Jalen Hurts has some up and down times, did really well in most of the team periods, through 2 picks, 6s basically yesterday in practice, came back today with no picks. We've seen Rager killing people, not just with the catch that he made today, the one hand. I don't necessarily know if he needed both the plays that he made. I thought he could have used both hands. That's just me. I'm not hitting on him.
You said
I'm
he's
not
showing
hating.
up.
No. If you catch it, you catch it. What I'm saying is that I think that like this one today was a little bit harder, but the first one for sure he could have caught with two hands. So some guys just are used to doing it because they practice that now. Back in the days, it was forbidden to practice, right? You didn't even practice one hand. He's like, dude, you go after two hands. If you can't get to it, your natural response is going to be to stick that one out a little bit further. And he's like, and that's when you catch it. That's what my coach always tell me. You go after the ball with two hands. If your body's going to know if you can get to it or not. And so that's the way we were trained. But now they on a jug machine, one hand.
One hand.
Odell
changed that. He changed Odell.
Yeah, he changed it because he made it popular. The dudes that started that was the dude that started that I seen was Chris Carter. Chris Carter was sitting in the jug machine. Then it was Randy Moss.
He didn't do one where he had two, right?
Listen, Chris Carter done made some catches, boy. when I you see my two balls at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw somewhere he was.
Chris Carter got some hands. That's people always ask me who do I think has the best hands in history and all time. The top two receivers with the best hands in history, Larry Fitzgerald, number one. He has the best hands, ladies. And this is my era, my time. Me playing against him, me seeing him, us being on SportsCenter every week in college, like him number one, me number 5, me number 1, him number. But he was on SportsCenter every single week in college. Yeah. And when you look at the number of passes that he has caught in comparison to the number that he has dropped, it's out of this world. It's not even close to the next person. And you can start to say, okay, those catches didn't matter. No, listen, this man doesn't drop balls. His catching percentage is like his catch to drop percentage is something stupid low, like 1 or 2%. It's stupid low.
In his career.
The dude has more tackles than he has drop balls. So don't talk to me unless you can acknowledge that. Number one. And then the second one for me, you can debate this, but I'm gonna go with Chris Carter. Chris Carter, his hands that's who I grew up watching. You know who's else is in that category. People will be mad at me for this. But Ed McCaffrey had hands. See, this is me knowing football.
Really?
And,
okay.
Christian McCaffrey's dad.
Yeah.
Hands.
White lightning, right? That's what they used to call him.
Yeah. Ed McCaffrey had hands.
I didn't know that. I just knew he was like a tall, fast dude. Okay.
No, Ed McCaffrey used to catch some passes now. And then there's a lot of dudes, usually possession receivers like myself and other ones. We are known to have hands because you can go all the way back in history with guys like me that had really good hands and never dropped passes, from Tom Waddle to on and on and on and on. But yeah, so I deviated and went back to offense. I wasn't supposed to do that, but I was just thinking about it.
No,
so
it's good.
Jalen Reagor balling in camp, which is encouraging, right? Couple one-hand catches. I seen him route some people up on the stem 7 route,
Yeah, I saw that too.
We used to call it a circus, but a little stem 7 route where so you're starting to see him, do some things. So I'm getting excited about that. The thing that you do notice, we talked about this a little bit. There's guys that are making plays. Quez, Jalen Hurts. Zach Ertz has looked like he's coming around. Zach Ertz is getting him a little bit of love in there. I guess it's the blonde Zach. The blonde
mullet.
Zach. the blonde only Zach. It came in to play, baby.
Yeah, he's looking good.
So he's looking good. So that's my takeaways from this week at camp. Now, on the flip side of this, Jalen Hurts hadn't been named the starter. Some people say it's competition. Most of the players totally disagree with that. say that he's won over the locker room with his leadership style. He's won over the locker room with his mentality, his desire to win, and his desire to coach and be coachable. So he's always leading. He's always trying to get guys to do the right thing. He's quizzing receivers in the hallways. He's holding people accountable. When have you heard a quarterback for the Eagles doing stuff like that? Yeah, I don't know when.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Quizzing receivers? He's quizzing receivers on. Yeah, that's reports that come out that he's quizzing receivers when you see him in the hallway. Hey man, what do you have on? 3766 snake, or whatever it is, whatever the play call. I just made that up. So, but I'm just saying, yeah. So that's pretty cool. And he's running with guys out the practice. He was doing that stuff last year. And the one thing to know, the kid is a leader. So I think the team is just rooting for him because of how good of a leader he is. And that's my biggest takeaway from this week. Then you got the drama of the Patriots and Cam and the press conferences being so animated, and it just doesn't match, man. Like Martin, it don't match. It don't look right, man. Cam Newton in New England just don't match. It don't look right. Cam needs to
always be in
a different place than New England.
He needs to be in like LA or Miami. Like he needs to be. It don't feel weird. I mean, it don't feel right at all. It don't feel right. Houston, possibly
something like that. Anywhere. Q. We are about 2 weeks into training camp. 3 to go. What do you remember about nearing the halfway point? What are you thinking? And this is my thoughts that when you first get in there, boom, you're excited. Second, third, fourth day, you're like, man, why am I excited? And then, it just goes downhill from there. What's your thoughts?
Absolutely. So it's funny because you're excited when you first get there, and then you start to be like, oh man, I'm sick of this. And then you get the first game. So then you're up again. And then you come back to the same dorm room after the game, after you had a little free time, and then you just back in it like, oh man, we're back on this grind. So at the halfway point, man, for us, now I don't know what these guys, it's different for these guys, but for us, it was like, man, I'm ready to go home. Let me out of here. I'm sick of this place. So
exactly.
And the worst part is you start counting the days and you know exactly where you're at and you know exactly how many days you got left. Sleeping in a bed that's sinking. Oh my God. It was the halfway point is the worst point to be in training camp.
Agreed. The thing that you start doing is you start to look for the next day off. Right? You begin to anticipate the next day off. You're like, man, I got 3 more days until we get a day off. It's like if I go out here hard tomorrow, keep my mind good, we're gonna get through this day. Then it's then we got lobster that night, so that'd be good. So you try to find the positive and everything, you know what I mean? And you hope somebody do something funny so you can laugh and get your mind off of it or whatever it is, right? So somebody tell a funny story or something, right? So you're looking for anything, but you're like, hey, Coach Reed, when that day coming? Hey, any veteran? I'm in the 4th year. Hey, when the Veterans Day start? Man, when you're in year 7. Oh man, I'm way too early.
For real, them Veteran Days, they help you get through, man. That was, and you know what I remember? We used to. What was the name of that bar? And it's like a bar and grill. That was it. I forget the name of it. It was like on the other side of the hill in Lehigh.
Mm-hmm. I don't know the name of it.
And it was just like a hole in the wall spot. But
Rookies?
Was it
Rookies? Was it Rookies?
It was something like that. Something had to do with sports. I forget, but I just remember just being able to just walk in there and just see other people and to see other types of food was like we were on vacation somewhere. Like we would, and we'd only be there for like 10, 15 minutes, but just the fact that you just got away and got to see other people and got to see different types of food was like going to Dubai, man.
Yeah. Guys used to be waiting for that off day so they can go out the night before. I'd be right in my dorm room. I went to the movies with Doc one time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, me and Doc went to a movie one time. I was like, dude, how did I get in this movie? You gonna get me in trouble? I'm not a veteran.
Well, you remember what y'all went to see?
I can't remember. I cannot remember. But I remember riding it in because he had a G-Wagon. He had a G-Wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember that G-Wagon? He may still have that G-Wagon. He used to love that G-Wagon.
He probably
But
do.
that thing was heavy, and that thing rolled rough. I was like, man, this car is way too nice to be riding this rough. I feel like I'm driving in a doggone Humvee. This is not like I'm like, you getting the Benz, you be like, oh, this ride gonna be nice. When I got in the Benz, I felt like I was in a doggone pickup truck that was built in 1962.
Hey, the first time I was in one, I was shocked at how small they are on the inside, man.
Yeah, but it was a nice car. But we went. I was like, man, because before I was like, man, maybe one day after putting in 15 years of work, I may be able to afford one of these. But after that ride, I was like, I don't never want that. I keep my Toyota. But yeah, so we went down there one day to that. So you're looking forward to all of those moments, right? So where you can get a day off. Now, don't get us wrong. We work hard when we out there. We have fun when we out there. We do all of those things. It just gets to the point where you're like, dude, I've played and showed you everything I got. like, listen, I done one-handed it. Q, I was like, man, I didn't pick the quarterback off 3-4 times this week. Like there ain't no way this dude behind me gonna beat me, man. Let me go out. Let me go chill with my family tonight. Stop playing already, all right? Because for me and my competitions, when I had competitions, my competitions be over in the first week. They be over in the first day. Like Jason still got it. You know what I mean? And you're like, dude, for the next 3-4 weeks, yeah, I understand that we're trying to get some chemistry going, but yeah, we ain't got to do it, for 6 hours, 7 hours in a day. And that's the thing that you get tired about camp is that you're up early for that first practice, 8, 9, whatever, 8. Go get some food. You got to be over at the field at 9. At weigh in or what have you. You do your practice. Say you get done with practice at 1. You hurry up, shower up, go get something to eat. Then you got meetings at 4, right? You gotta be back on the field at 6, right? You on the field for another hour and a half. You got to be at a meeting at 9. And it's an install meeting, and you don't get out of that meeting till 11 o'clock. And you're like, man, come on, bro. Let me talk to my kids or something.
And the worst too would be sometimes the coaches, they want to show that they really working, so they hold you to that last minute, right? If the meeting's supposed to be over at 9:30, they're not letting you go till 9:29 and 59 seconds.
First of all, we at offense, we've never gotten out at 9:30. Marty Mornwig will go over every play like it's the first time everybody has ever heard it. That was Coach Reed's philosophy. You go over the play like it's this dude. We done ran this play 72 times in one practice. This dude's like, hey, you guys know this. This is all Omaha. All Omaha. This is how you do it. You burst, you run, you burst. You plant it there. Quarterback. Flat defender read. Flat defender goes like he goes through the whole play. And you're like, dude, this play should not take you 10 minutes. We got 72 more of these. You're in there. Install take 2.5 hours and him just talking. The dude that's feeding him the paper, because back in those days, it wasn't just a computer that you can just go and look. You have to have the machine that reflected it. What are those things called? But there was a machine that you put the paper on, and it was just a projector. It projected it, right? So a slide projector.
Wow,
So
man, what was that called?
It was a slide projector. So you would put the paper, and it would project it on the screen. So you had to have somebody physically doing that. And by the 10th play, the dude that's doing that is like. It's the coach. It's one of the coaches. It's the tight end coach, Coach Melvin. Coach tight end coach, Coach Melvin. Be doing the slide.
Tom Melvin.
Marty like, Melvin. All right, go. Damn it, Melvin. The players can't. You gotta give a better example. So Coach Reed's looking back at me, Mug, and Tom Mill. We busting up laughing like, dude, everybody in here tired. None of us are listening to you right now. We're just trying not to get caught sleeping. That's it. We're not listening to any of these plays. We'll go over it in the morning.
For real, man. Oh, that used to be the worst.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get to the room, you barely have time to call your family.
Yeah, and you don't want to talk to them long. They like, Daddy, hey baby, I love you. Have a good night. Do good in school. Talk to you tomorrow. They like, dang, Daddy, quick. You just tired. It ain't that you want to talk. You just tired. And they say the wrong thing. You're like, man, I'm going to sleep. I'm already mad.
For real, man. So yeah, it's this time of year they're going through it right now. So
yeah. The optimistic thing about this that's different from us is that they get to go sleep in their beds at night with their family, which is different. They don't have to take the track and sleep in dorms, uncomfortable beds, Lehigh, people playing with the air conditioner up and down. You don't have to do that. You control your own temperature in your house, right? So you don't have to worry about none of that stuff. You don't have to worry about people farting near, or your room being next to the bathroom. You don't have to worry about none of that stuff, right? So,
or you
right?
gotta walk down to the hallway to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. So you gotta use a urinal.
Exactly. A urinal cup where Q is peeing on himself. He ain't got to do none of that stuff. They could be in their own home. Another thing too is that you don't have to deal with the pressure of the fans. Fans, even though I enjoyed this portion of it, but the fans would take a considerable amount of time out of your day. So to get off the field, you feel bad at Lehigh because you all the way out on the back field and practice is over. It's 1,000 people out there ask, hey, Jason, come over, sign autograph. And you're like, man, these people been here waiting all day out in this heat, watching us practice. You go over and sign autographs. Next thing you know, 30 minutes then went by, an hour went by, and you do that twice a day. Before you know it, an hour and a half is going by your day just dealing with the fans or somebody stopping you. You have people at the end of the corner trying to stop you because the line was backed up. Hey, man, sign this jersey, whatever it is. So you love that part, and I was all for that part. But when you're tired and hungry and all that type of stuff, these players don't have to deal with any of that stuff. They got to go and ask the players if they want to do this or do that, and then there's nobody at practice, pretty much, not many people. So players don't have to, deal with any of the real duties of being pros anymore. They just don't.
Yeah.
That's my take on it. Now, let's deal with this last question. Which current Eagles will really need to pick it up over the next 2 or 3 weeks? Who do you want to see more from?
Well, that's a good question. Here, this is my answer right here. As a defensive guy, I want to see Jonathan Gannon pick it up. Like, I know he's not a player. I want to see, like, we've been hearing, you see the interviews, you hear about, his infectious personality. You see him talking to his players love him. I want to see him step it up. I want to see his play calling step it up. I want to see that creativity that we want. I want to see that the scheme. I want to see, some creative blitzing schemes, some creative coverages. I want to see something that makes me excited. Like, okay, this is the guy that's going to take this defense back to where it should be. So yeah, I want to see more from our defensive coordinator, Gannon. Like that's my thing right there. Like, to me personally, like, this first game was like the biggest disappointment. There was no creativity in the defense, and I was expecting more.
I agree with you 100% because you were expecting more. However, I disagree with you in that I understand why it could have occurred.
Yeah.
Because it's his first debut. He was trying to be politically correct, may not want to show, much stuff to, opposing offenses through the season and give that disadvantage up. So I understand some of his hesitation. However, I agree with you in that he has to be able to show us something. And the defense has to be able to do something more complex than what they showed this week. I always kind of stick on the offensive side of the ball, but I want to give you a few players. Avonte Maddox. I want to see Avonte Maddox step up and be a dominant player in the slot or wherever he's positioned at last. I want to see him peak. Just like he did at the beginning of his first year and had some really, really good plays. I want to see him do well again. He's been lacking confidence. I want to see him do well. That's on the defensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, I want to be able to see Travis Fulgham. I want to see what he's about. I want to see if there's pressure from these guys, these young whippersnappers, these dudes that got all this gas in the tank when it comes to speed. When you're dealing with Avonte Smith, 4.4 low. You're dealing with John Hightower, 4.4 low. You're dealing with Quez, you're talking about 4.3 low. Right. So you got all this gas and they're getting Jalen Reagor 4.4 low. Some people say as low as 4.3, So you're dealing with all these dudes with this gas in the tank, and you're not that guy, and they're getting this credit and this praise, and they're working hard. I want to see how he responds. Will he go back to the Travis Fulgham of Detroit and the Packers of inconsistency, or will we get a Travis Fulgham that we seen for the first part of the season last year that was a dominant player? Which one will we get? And I think he's the most important person to know something from on offense, because everyone else is pretty much established. We've seen what Jordan Mailata can do. We've seen, we kind of know what type of player Jalen Hurts is, even though I would say that he's there too. He's the most important. So if anybody said Jalen Hurts is the most important, he is. But for me, from a receiver's perspective, I want to see Travis Fulgham. Will he respond?
Let's hope he does.
And also, too, Aaron Moorhead, like the receivers coach, has been doing a good job. You got to give him some credit. Got to give him a lot of credit. But he has some tough decisions to make. Somebody, two or three of these people that were on the team last year won't be on this team this year.
So do you think, and you probably could answer this better, is that that's not solely his decision, right? Or is he?
It isn't, but he spearheads it, right? So he doesn't have the power and authority, but usually he gives the nod and tells. Now, what happens is that Howie will go around to him and kind of tell him what he likes, and usually the coach kind of concedes to Howie in the meetings. So Howie will go around to the guys and say, hey, I like this person, so on and so forth. And usually the coach has those guys, in a different order or close to the same order. But when it's time for the meeting, the coach kind of have may feel the pressure from rather than making his own independent decision. But the good coaches may, in that meeting, that personnel meeting, when they say, hey, coach, who's your top 5 guys? You don't want to say what Howie says. Some people will be intimidated and says what Howie and say what Howie says, but you want to say what you think. And that holds weight if you have respect. Your players in the past have come about. Like I told you a story with David Culley. David Culley loved me because it gave him power to be able to draft Deshaun Jackson and Jeremy Maclin, because I panned out. And I was his guy that he stood on the table. Like, man, I don't want any of these other guys. For this position in the slot, this is who we should grab. And he was adamant about it when nobody else wanted to draft me. And so can it be done? It can if they listen. So I think he definitely has power to sway.
Good.
So that's where I am with that, Q. That completes another episode of the Q&A show on Inside the Birds platform, YouTube channel, Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Make sure that you're submitting your questions to insidethebirds@gmail.com. We will get to them. We're starting to get more and more content because of these preseason practices, the games are coming up. We're going to have, questions. This season is going to be crazy. We're going to be able to break down some film and do a lot of different things and talk about the game and talk about plays and have you guys' input into the show. And we're excited about that. Q, we are signing off. You say the last words to the people on behalf of myself, Quintin Mikell, Jeff, Adam, and all those people. Thank you guys. Q, you have the last words.
Yes, sir. As always, it's been a pleasure, man. I learned something every time I say it. Every time, man. It was always a pleasure, man. Appreciate it.
Good Defensive coordinator, Clearview High School is the man. Go check him out. Mullica Hill. I got to check him out for a game. I got to see. He been coaching the receivers. I got to see what he's doing out there.
We all right. We doing all right. We are. No. It's been a lot of fun, man. We have a good time with it, and the kids are great, man. They hang on to everything, and we just have fun. And I'm just trying to teach the game the right way. That's all.
Yeah, that's cool stuff. That's good stuff. Right in your neighborhood in the Philadelphia area. One of the Eagles' all-time greats, defensive coordinator. Look at that. You never know what's happening. We love this area. Love the city of Philadelphia. You guys have a great night. Talk to you another time. Peace.